Theodore Lucky. His name alone now sends a chill down the spine of anyone who's heard his story. A 43-year-old man whose very demeanor leaves us baffled. In one moment, he's sobbing uncontrollably in an interrogation room, eyes wet with regret. In the next, he's smirking, almost playful, blowing a mocking kiss toward the victim's grieving families as he's led out of court. It's like watching two different souls trapped in one body. Though he was never diagnosed with any form of bipolar disorder, Theodore's fractured personality, half sorrow, half cruelty, remains one of the most unsettling enigmas in modern true crime. But to understand how a man could transform from lover to killer, from caretaker to executioner, we must go back to where it all began. In 2009, Theodore was an openly gay man enduring the aftermath of a painful breakup. Heartbroken and desperate for closure, he reached out to his ex-boyfriend, inviting him on a short road trip to Atlantic City, hoping to rekindle what was lost or at least make peace with it. The journey took a strange turn when they stopped at a roadside motel. Theodore asked if he could tie his ex to the bed, a request that seemed intimate, even harmless at first. But once the man was restrained, Theodore's demeanor shifted. A heavy sadness washed over him. Without a word, he walked out of the motel, leaving his ex-boyfriend bound and helpless, consumed by his own despair. As Theodore drove aimlessly through the night, searching for a secluded place to end his life, fate pushed him toward an even darker detour. He broke into the home of an elderly couple holding them hostage. When the terrified woman offered him money and jewelry, mistaking him for a robber, Theodore refused. He locked the doors, disconnected the phones, and sealed them inside. Yet in a strange contradiction, he also served them a frozen meal when they mentioned being hungry. It was an eerie act of kindness, compassion from the same hands that held them captive. But the tenderness didn't last. After locking the couple upstairs, Theodore retreated to the garage, intending to end his life there. Thankfully, the 87-year-old husband managed to escape and call 911 before tragedy could strike again. Theodore was arrested that night, and while his life was spared, the chaos inside him was far from over. In 2012, he was sentenced to 15 years in prison. 4 years later, he was transferred to a correctional facility in Concord, New Hampshire. There, something unexpected happened. His story took a turn that no one could have predicted. During his incarceration, Theodore met another inmate named Nathan Cashman, a 28-year-old serving time for unrelated charges. What began as companionship soon evolved into something deeper. Behind the bars, Theodore and Nathan found comfort in each other. Two men, both broken in their own ways, clinging to the illusion of love inside concrete walls. Theodore served 12 years and 1 month before being released. On parole in May 2021, he relocated to New Jersey and started a quiet, new life working as a baker, a man seemingly reformed, steady, and grateful for a second chance. But just 3 months later, he was back in the interrogation room, this time for something far worse. On August 21st, 2021, police in Bedford, New Hampshire, received multiple 911 calls from a Country Inn and Suites hotel. When officers arrived, they discovered a gruesome scene. 2 bodies, one strangled, the other mutilated with over 100 stab wounds. One of them was Nathan Cashman. The interrogation footage from that night is haunting. Theodore sits calmly across from detectives, his voice steady and his expressions unreadable. It's as if the gravity of what he's done hasn't registered, or worse, doesn't matter to him. The officers press gently, trying to understand. "Were you staying at the hotel alone?" one asks. Theodore shakes his head. "No," he replies softly. "I was with a friend." That friend was Nathan, the man he once said he wanted to marry. The two had met again after Nathan's release, and Theodore had gone above and beyond to care for him. He sent money to pay Nathan's debts in prison, bought him new clothes, shoes, even a cooler stocked with Nathan's favorite Dr. Pepper. He planned a surprise birthday dinner. He believed, perhaps naively, that their love could be reborn outside those walls, but reality shattered that illusion. Just days before the celebration, Nathan sent Theodore a text message ending their relationship. The message was short, cold, and final. Theodore was blindsided. He had driven hundreds of miles, poured every ounce of his heart and wallet into Nathan, only to be dismissed like a stranger. To make things worse, he soon discovered Nathan was already seeing someone else. Detectives described Theodore's voice as trembling, yet oddly composed when he spoke about the breakup. "He said he loved me," Theodore murmured. "He said he wanted to marry me. Then just like that, gone." The rejection hit harder than any prison sentence ever could. For Theodore, whose mother still struggled to accept his sexuality, Nathan had been more than a partner. He was validation, belonging, and love. Losing that sent him spiraling, but Nathan wasn't the only one who would suffer that night. There was another man, 60-year-old David Hanford, one of Theodore's former lovers. David had agreed to drive Theodore from New Jersey to New Hampshire to meet Nathan. During the drive, Theodore confessed his fear that Nathan might reject him and even admitted dark thoughts of what he might do if that happened. David listened but didn't seem to believe Theodore was serious. That mistake cost him his life. When they reached the hotel, Theodore tied David to the bed, claiming it was part of a consensual bondage game. But it wasn't. After binding him, Theodore calmly told David he couldn't let him go. Fearing that David might reveal what he had confessed, Theodore taped his face and suffocated him. He then left the room, certain David was dead, and went to find Nathan. What followed was a frenzy of blood and emotion that defies belief. When Theodore confronted Nathan, things escalated fast. Nathan tried to escape, but Theodore grabbed a machete and slashed wildly, chasing him through the hotel hallways. Witnesses later described hearing screams echoing through the corridors as Nathan ran, trying desperately to flee. Theodore struck again and again, arms, chest, and face, until Nathan collapsed in the hotel lobby, lifeless. In total, Theodore stabbed him 120 times. During his confession, Theodore's tone never wavered. He spoke as though recounting a tragic love story rather than a double homicide. When Nathan, in his final moments, cried out that he still loved him, Theodore said coldly, "If you loved me, you never would have done this." It was vengeance, heartbreak, and delusion twisted together, a cocktail only a mind like Theodore's could mix. In November 2022, Theodore Lucky pleaded guilty to both murders. He stood in court, calm and unshaken, and accepted 2 life sentences without the possibility of parole. As he was led away, he turned to the victims' families and blew them a kiss. That single gesture, mocking, haunting, and unforgettable, captured everything about him. Remorseful yet proud, broken yet defiant. From heartbreak to horror, Theodore's story is a brutal reminder of how fragile the human psyche can be. Love, when fused with obsession, can become a weapon sharper than any blade. And sometimes the most terrifying monsters are not born from hatred, but from love twisted too far. How do you interpret this case? Was Theodore a man destroyed by heartbreak or a manipulator masking his darkness behind the illusion of love? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to explore more stories that unravel the minds behind true crime, subscribe and stay tuned for more from Criminology Mind.